This is Manager speaking, one of the co-commentators for this race, again, between Vale and Metro.
I'm Hobbit. You might remember me from my last commentary in Manager and Ed Nolium's race. And we're here to, like he said, commentate some Metroid Dread.
Amen to that. I know both of these runners pretty well. Both of them have run this category for some time or are pretty well experienced, so this will be a very exciting matchup.
And in this one, we've got a physical and digital runner, right? So
Indeed.
we're gonna have Vale on a physical copy of the game, and Metroll on the digital copy. I imagine we will be using the timer penalty
Yes.
for Metroll.
Yes, Metro will be starting in 3 minutes and 27 seconds of the timer, while Vale will start when the timer hits 0.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, for those who are unaware, the physical copy of the game loads substantially slower. Over the course of the game, each load is just a little bit longer. And over the course of one long run, that really adds up. So, this is basically done to try to even the stakes a little bit between physical and digital runners. So that way, competition can be as fair as possible.
Indeed, and as we see right now, Vale has started his game, but Metro is still waiting on the menu because he'll need another 3 minutes, 3 or so minutes before he starts his run.
Mm-hmm. So getting started here, we're going to be in good old Artaria 1. Like any good speed run of this game, it's essentially just that warm up of movement, getting used to every basic movement tech you're gonna need to get through the game. Quick hops, dash melees over ledges, defeating enemies as appropriate, sliding and shooting, and quick rising when appropriate.
Yep, this is all fundamentals that work. Every runner, when learning the speed game, just knows how to just do those little micro movements. Just dash mailing through doors, mashing through text, quick hopping through ledges, all that kind of work. It's a kind of thing that's definitely easier said than done. It takes a lot of time just to walk through those motions bit by room.
Yeah, it's an essential building block for a glitchless run, since a lot of the speed you would get from glitches is not available for glitchless. So movement really becomes an even bigger focal point than it already is. Ooh, nice shot, first shot on the blob. So getting a really clean set of blob shots there, just trying to save a little bit of time. And we're about halfway through the penalty time, so while Vale is cleaning up the broken Emmy, Metro's getting closer and closer to being able to start himself.
Yep. So right here, Vale has just picked up the Omega Cannon to kill the tutorial boss of this game, the broken Emmy.
Yeah, and I think this this race option kind of creates an interesting dynamic, because I know Metroll is someone who has a really strong early game. So this is definitely going to be a case where Vale needs to get as far ahead as he can during the physical-digital timing. So he's got about a minute left to keep moving through Artaria. Unfortunately, there's nothing too crazy movement-wise coming up. It's just going to be slow, steady progress towards Charge Beam.
Yep. Vale is just gonna go through the white Emmy zone for a bit, encounter white Emmy, and just go through the motions to get out. Just what they do standard, just destroy the blob, move, wait at the door for white Emmy to look menacingly across the tunnel, but can't do anything, and then let the doors open. This is unique for just the very first white Emmy encounter in Glitchless, because it's in a unique introductory state until Samus leaves the Emmy zone.
Yeah, and this section, that first Emmy encounter is very much an on-rails type of section, unless you do the Magus counter option in Glitchless, which is notably pretty difficult. And coming up here on 3.5 minutes, we see Metroll gearing up to get started as well.
As 327 hits, Metro is getting ready to roll. So you can see that Vale Metro have a considerable time deficit, but as both rate runners go through the load, you see Metro just gain bits and bits of time just because digital loading times is just faster each time.
Yeah, you saw during the initial load in that Vale took upwards of over 30 seconds for Vale to gain control, but here Metroll gains control in about 27 seconds.
Yeah. So already that's like close to over like a 5-second time save.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Okay.
so Vale's going to be jumping through the water. This just provides a slightly faster option than just running through the water. And I don't believe we're going to, no cloakless water skip here. That is significantly harder
Yeah.
without Phantom Cloak, so most runners will be opting to skip it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Metroll try it, but it's definitely extremely tricky.
Yeah, only a few select runners go for it, and it is very difficult, especially in a tournament site, just to get it and save time. I think roughly 4 to 5 attempts, and getting it will break even with just skipping it entirely. So it's like 50, you can save up to like 15-ish seconds, if I remember correctly.
And even with that, a lot of people don't get it after those 4 or 5 attempts, so you have to just take the original water portion anyway.
Yeah, just gotta fight that sunk cost fallacy and just kind of realize the best way to go is just moving down. Alright, well, Vale is coming across Charge Beam, which is going to be an important power-up from here on out.
Yeah, it's certainly a fundamental option, especially when it comes to a lot of the early boss fights. We're going to be seeing Vale make use of the quick charge mechanic, where turning around or doing a spin jump will cause the charge beam to charge faster and charge instantaneously. It's one of the few small tricks available to you in Glitchless before you get any major movement upgrades.
Yep. Right, and Metro has just finished Broken Enemy and is trying to race over to the White Enemy zone. Vale is just cruising and taking full advantage of Charge Beam. You see right here, nice. Vale does a quick mid-air turnaround to do 2 quick charges against the Pinky to save a bit of time versus jumping over it entirely.
Yeah, it just gives you a much cleaner path across the ground there. So definitely very nice work from Vale. That can be a very tricky set of charge beams to get.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we've seen this area before, so Vale's just going to be retracing his steps and, heading back towards the Magma Switch.
Yep. And Vale got a very favorable White Enemy RNG spawn. No, it is possible the White Enemy to spawn in one of the platforms blocking the way, so that can be very inconvenient.
Yeah, and I mean, bumping the White Enemy is always going to be dangerous because those parries are not easy to hit. There's a couple windows that appear to be kind of like set timings for when the first and second parry might appear, but that doesn't really make it any easier. It's very, very tight, so definitely best to just avoid it altogether.
And even then, if you get caught and you still parry, you still lose time versus just not getting caught at all.
Absolutely.
Hey, Metro effortlessly dash mailing over the White Enemy. It's a very good setup. Since it is in this particular instance, the White Enemy will always appear in one specific location. Okay, so Vale just triggered the first thermal pad out of like 6 in this entire game, which opens the way to fight the central unit of the White Enemy, so Vale can kill it afterwards.
So first going to be taking a break at Adam while Metroll makes his way through the water, trying to pop that blob so he can proceed. So far, he's looking pretty smooth, so Vale's got to keep taking as much space as he can here.
Exactly. As you said, Metro's early game is really strong. Metro has practiced early game, I think, the most out of the parts of the game, so he just knows all the fundamentals like autopilot. He is very talented in this particular section.
Yeah, it's definitely his jam. With glitches or not, he's got it down pat.
And a first try water platform skip that Metro just performed. Very clean.
Yep. And while Metroll runs over to grab the charge, we're going to be seeing Vale shooting up at the central unit here. Missiles are pretty much your best option unless you can weave missiles between your beam shots, which is just mashing beam while tapping R in between to shoot missiles between your beams. If you're not using turbo, that is distinctly allowed. However, it is not allowed with turbo. Alright, Vale's white enemy kill, looking good. Nice slide under.
Very slide under. You need to effortlessly go ledge to ledge to get up in the ledge to fight white enemy and shoot enough shots to slide under. It is it is easier and safer to jump over the white enemy before you destroy its faceplate, but that does lose a bit of time compared to just shooting and then sliding under once the faceplate is broken.
Yeah, ironically enough, the white enemy fight is kind of the hardest one between all of the other future ones that we will have to do. So that's definitely really clean from Vale. It's really easy to buffer a wall jump or have something go wrong in that 2-tile wall that we have to navigate around.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, if you have a wall that is that has more than just one tile, the default buffer option will be a wall jump instead of a quick rise. So very good execution from Vale there for sure.
Indeed. Alright, Metro is going over to talk to Adam again, while Vale is ready to fight the first major boss of this game.
Yep, hopefully Vale can find himself some nice Corpius RNG, getting an early tail swipe. Let's see. Oh, he gets the RNG, but not quite able to convert on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, so for context, if you phase transition Corpius while Corpius is doing the spitting animation, Corpius' head stays locked in the ground, which makes it really easy just to pump missiles when Corpius is cloaked and allow you to skip the third phase.
Yep, but definitely taking the good option here, quick charging through phase 2, instead of taking a phase over that is definitely faster than going to phase 3, so making the best of the situation he's got in front of him for sure. But, like I said, he's got to be careful. Metroll is catching up at blinding speed. He is already at the last Adam conversation in Artaria. Alright, nice wall clicks from Vale there. So we are going to be seeing an elevator deboost coming up right here. Definitely another very finicky movement type trick. To get out of Artaria here, a very common snag point for a lot of runners, but let's see how Vale's doing with it. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Jump up, and gets it, no problem. Great stuff from Vale here. Doing everything he can to maintain his lead while he gets to the first major load of this run. And this is really where we're going to see the difference between Metroll and Vale's games. Vale is going to have to spend a significant amount of time in these loads compared to Metroll because of his physical version of the game. Looking back at the other end of things, Metroll is about to be fighting the White Emmy himself. I imagine we'll be seeing another attempt at plant kill. He's dropping down. Yep. Looking pretty clean, but I do not think that's going to be close enough to do true plant, so we might see a slide under or jump over.
Yep, Metroll does this safe option, just jumps over, which is what I personally do, and it's just, you know, a lot easier to pull off and way more comfortable of a kill than trying to do the slide under.
Yeah, it can be a little tricky too. That diagonal wall right above the enemy can really halt your momentum and just force you to bonk into it. So even with the easier option in the jump over, you have to be mindful of your positioning.
Yeah. So while Metroll defeats Wyoming to get the Spider Magnet, Vale will be talking to Adam for the very last time, as our subsequent visits to Adam will be skipped by a very important skip coming up in a few minutes for Vale.
Yeah, but first he's got to tackle what is basically the movement gauntlet of Catarus 1. There's no way around it. It can certainly be challenging. Ooh, I liked what he was going for there, but I think maybe jumping a little too high. If you smack that thing, it can stop it from crashing into and blowing up, which will allow you to seamlessly get to that magnet button, or that magma button.
Indeed. The explosion from the enemy slamming into you is like around 40 damage, which is fine in like rookie mode since you have an energy tank, but some runners just opt to slap it to render it docile.
Ooh. Vale had the backup for Super Boost ready to go, but unfortunately did not open the magma vent, so unable to get any kind of time save there. Metro, on the other hand, grappling with Corpius phase 2, and
Yeah.
grabbing the Phantom Cloak.
Indeed. And right here, Vale is doing what we call a hell run, just going through the heated room, taking exponential damage, but just moving through the room effortlessly.
Yeah, that's no problem for him. You have a little bit of leeway with that extra energy tank, and here we can see the buffer order kind of getting the better of him, unfortunately. It happens to everyone. And getting a favorable green enemy spawn here.
Yeah.
Even with it catching him here, this shutter door's basically going to bail him out.
Yeah, Vale had a bit of issues with some of the ledge jumps in the first room, and as all the rooms are loaded at the same time, if you are too slow with your movement in previous rooms, the green enemy may be in a more unfavorable spot in the next room.
Yep, and we're going to be seeing Metroll go for elevator deboost here. Unfortunately, seemingly missing a setup, but getting it anyway.
Bailed out with a good backup, which is always nice to have, because, you know, if you don't get the right setup and all your backup set, you have to take the rail all the way from the left, and that just loses a lot of time.
Yeah, it's definitely really, really painful sometimes to mess up your setup just a little bit and have the plies get out of position. But fortunately for Metroll, the plies were ready to help him out. Vale, on the other hand, is on the way to the aforementioned Atom Skip, going to have to press one more magma button before he navigates through, pre-shooting that door so that way he can move cleanly through. And we've got Metroll getting off the elevator in Catarus, starting his own Catarus 1 gauntlet.
Indeed. While Metro is starting his, Vale is coming at a very important juncture of this run, what we call Atom Skip.
Yeah, this is a really, really critical run. This is what turns off all of the Atom stations, and it's essentially a combination of buffered movement. That was promising, but unfortunately a little late on the draw on that wall jump at the bottom of the ramp. Technically a bunch of frame-perfect inputs that are bufferable, so it comes down to really just that melee respin wall jump.
Yeah, you want to melee at the right point where Samus hits the angled wall, just so Samus can reach the very tip of the wall there to do a buffered wall jump and make it all the way up to the magnet.
Yeah, essentially it becomes the difference of wall jumping off the bottom of the ramp versus the top of the wall, which gives you just enough edge to get to that top magnet here. Vale, unfortunately, seeming to struggle a little bit with Atom Skip, but I mean, it can be extremely tough, so I can understand.
It just gets the best of us. Not even the top runners are immune from this.
Oh, there we go. There it is.
Vale got it.
Commentator's blessing. Good work from Vale, powering through Atom Skip and making his way to the last magma button so that he can leave Catarus.
Yeah, that's one major hurdle out of the way, so that definitely must be a relief on Vale.
Yeah, that feeling of getting that correct wall jump is definitely really, really good. Vale trying to get a slide under after his charge shot, but unfortunately only able to get a turnaround. Just a small bit of movement you can do to capitalize on the time you're not in control of Samus.
Yeah, you can either opt to shoot the button as you slide to the button, or you slide to the button, shoot, and then immediately slide to the right. So once this cutscene ends, Samus will be on the right side of the wall. But very minor optimization.
Ooh, Metroll unfortunately a little slow on the weave here. Gonna have to navigate around the green Emmy, but does so very cleanly. Can't really ask for much better than that.
Yeah, and using the Phantom Cloak as intended by the developers.
Yeah, it is very useful in certain situations where you make like one small error and suddenly you're faced with the Emmy staring you down.
Yeah.
And coming out of that button cutscene, Metroll is also on his way to Atom Skip here. Let's see if he can have some better luck than Vale.
Yeah, Metroll has a chance to gain a considerable amount of time on Vale depending on how many attempts his Atom Skip takes.
Yeah, but I mean, the tournament race is a very high tense scenario, so it can really get to you in this setting.
From one to another, I can certainly relate to that. Oh, looks like Vale is stepping on the very last thermal pad in Catarus, although there was one more later in the run. And Metro is heading over to Adam Skip to face his test. So
Let's see what Metro's got here. Zooming in to get a slightly better view of it, and not quite getting it on the first try, but very close.
That was close. Ooh. Second try. Yep, zooming in is a really good way to just kind of easily measure your attempts and kind of can diagnose if that jump from the right wall will make it or not.
Ooh,
there we
very
go.
nice.
Metro got it. Saved a bit of time over Vale. It's like
definitely a boon for him. So Vale leaving Cataris at about 1851, 52-ish. Metroll going to be making his way through the last couple buttons and last bits of movement so that he can head for Dyron as well.
Yep. And just like Altario and Cataris, Dyron Run has a lot of movement optimization, and it's filled with a lot of dangerous enemies that experienced runners will know how to weave through without getting hit. Because though most of the enemies there can take over half an energy tank per hit, so it's very important to know how to move efficiently and avoid taking unnecessary damage.
Ooh, very nice slope check there. Not even going for cloaked slope, just straight up jumping off of that slope there for Vale getting across. Definitely a bit of a flex there. Using cloak can definitely make that a bit easier.
Yeah. And Metroll,
unfortunately missing the zipper.
Oh, early zipper gets the best of us. Yeah, there's a little bit of optimization you can do in Dyron Run, such as when the run room where there's like two sonic blades rolling at Samus, you can aim down at a charged missile and shoot and kill the Sonic rather than having to jump over, so it saves a bit of time, and Vale successfully did that for the second blade. Okay, so Vale activating one of two generators in Dyron to restore some power and get a very important power-up in the next few seconds.
Ooh, unfortunately trying to basically smack the enemy out of the way so he could slide under, but the enemy just barely too far away for him. But gonna be getting the wide beam no problem otherwise.
Yeah, and wide beam really increases Samus's damage output. So what Hobbit said before about how in the first central unit fight, it is better just to shoot missiles than beam mash when the core is exposed. But in subsequent central unit fights, a wide beam has better damage per second over just standard missile. So you'll be seeing Vale use that.
Alright, so Metroll getting out of Cataris at about 21:14 here. So that's what? About 2.5 minutes? 2.5 minutes behind?
Roughly speaking, but as Metro and Vale goes through low by low, the lead will be narrowing second by second.
Yeah, gaining a minute from that initial early penalty is definitely huge for Metroll here. Slowly clawing his way back. And actually, both runners kind of high-fiving on this transport. One going out, one going in. So Metroll is going to be making his way towards the wide beam as well. Nailing Dyron cloak tech and dropping his way down.
Yep. It is possible, like Hobbit said, to do that slope tech without cloak, but cloak can make it a little bit easier. Just up to personal preference on what you are comfortable with.
Yeah, it definitely makes the window for jumping off a lot smoother, and you get a nice vertical trajectory off of your jump, so you'll be jumping straight towards the ceiling instead of backwards a little bit.
Metroll cleanly going through the dark rooms, just how you can do optimal movement there, and Metroll will activate the generator while Vale is on his way to kill the green enemy.
Double taking on that wide beam block there, making sure he's charged up. And going to be entering the green Emmy arena and shortly after the central unit.
Yep. Also, Vale is doing something what we call Charlie Tech, which is just combining charge beam and missile shots for maximum damage. And you see, like, Vale is just bashing with wide beam rather than spamming missiles because wide beam just provides a much better damage at this point.
Yeah, the additional beam segments basically triple your damage, so mashing on the brain becomes a much more tenable plan compared to just using missiles like for the first central unit.
Yep. And in contrast to the white Emmy kill, which is a little bit tense, green Emmy is just very smooth sailing, just shooting the blob, camping in the corner, and just shooting at green Emmy, and that's always enough to break the faceplate and destroy the Emmy without having to move a muscle.
Yeah, it's definitely a kill that's much more chill compared to white Emmy, which can be quite stressful. There is a harder version of the fight, but it doesn't really gain you anything, and it is significantly harder. So you're going to see a very limited audience of runners going for that, if any.
Yeah, I don't think Metro will be going for that specific setup.
Definitely not.
Alright, so now Vale has the Morph Bar, which means Samus can just roll through the tunnels pretty easily, and you can see right there, if you slide into a tunnel, Samus gets a lot of horizontal momentum with the Morph Bar, so that's always recommended when you're going through these segments here.
I'm guessing Vale didn't quite intend to grab that missile tank, seeing the jump after. It's very common to try to avoid that missile pickup. You really don't need it, especially with the 10-pack that's coming up right here.
So this 10-pack is just along the way and get you 10 missiles rather than the standard 2, so that's always recommended for runners to pick up.
No, well, unfortunately getting trolled by the wide beam block by for Metroll here, but going to be dropping down to the green Emmy arena so that he can pick up the Morph Ball as well.
Yeah, the unfortunate truth about wide beam blocks is that they are very finicky, and sometimes when, depending on Samus' walking cycle as she fires a charged wide beam shots, those shots may not completely register on the block in all 3 nodes, and you just kind of have to fire again.
Yeah. Very nice Charlies from Metroll there, kind of losing his rhythm for a second and getting it right back. Going to be fighting the actual Emmy now.
Indeed. Vale is going to take a quick detour through the red teleporter to Altaria because, you know, Samus has to go and fight Kraid, but Kraid is in a heated area that will certainly kill Samus if she doesn't have the correct suit modifications.
Yeah, in this game, heat ticks are honestly extremely brutal. They tick up exponentially the longer you're in, including in any cutscenes where you load into an area that's hot. So Varia is hard required in order to progress in glitchless.
Yeah, I know in other Metroid speedruns, it is much easier just to go through heated rooms without like Various suit, just because it's just constant ticks of damage, not exponential. So you can get away if you have enough energy, but that's not the case for Dread since it's exponential ticks. Alright, so Vale is triggered the very last thermal pad, which is causing a bit of a ruckus in Altaria, so Sam just kind of have to go through this whole segment using Morph Ball and some well-timed beam shots and just escape this carnage that's going on.
Yeah, it's basically like your preview and warm-up for the escape sequence at the end of the game, but this time you're just escaping the room heating up. But it heats up pretty slowly, so if you're moving fast, you're hard-pressed to end up in a heat room type situation.
It is very lenient just to avoid all the heat segments, but Vale just kind of goes through pretty cleanly and now has the various suits, so now heated rooms are no longer a problem.
Yeah, so now he basically just gets to weave his way back down towards the teleportal that Metroll is traveling into now. So we'll see the runners kind of high-five again here very shortly. Notably, the teleporter's load time can be a little long, so...
Quite. Alright, so let me measure the time. So Vale's A press here is 27:26. So we'll see what Metro's time is once Metro gets a very soon and goes back to the red teleporter. But it does seem like Metro is gaining a bit more time on Vale as more and more load times happen.
Yeah, he's definitely seeing the benefit of having digital, as well as, I think, just generally speaking, having pretty clean execution across the board. I'm sure that ADM specifically gave him a nice chunk of time. I know Vale spent some real time on that one.
Considerable, at least probably 10 to 15 seconds, if not more than that. So Metro is going through the heat room. Very nice morph jump into the tunnel there.
Alright, so no exception weave for Vale, unfortunately. You can shoot at that top block and then dash melee over the ledge to weave around the corner and then go straight into the morph tunnel, but
Yeah.
No dice from him, unfortunately.
So this is just a bit of just some movement gauntlets up on the way to Kraid, just destroying some blob, just avoiding lava pits and rock monsters.
Yep, and Vale coming up here upon the evil green time waster himself, Kraid, a known pain point in any run that he's featured in, simply for the fact that he can just decide to lose you a bunch of time.
Yeah. So right here, so what Vale's hoping for is for claws, which Vale does get, because Kraid is in a much easier position to target his mouth, and if Kraid started off with the vomit attack, then it would be a lot harder for Vale to damage Kraid with all the projectiles and Kraid's mouth moving more wildly. Here, Vale is doing a little movement tech what we call single wall jump, where you just repeatedly morph and wall jump off a wall, since in Metroid Dread you can single wall jump normally as you would in many other Metroid games.
At least not without a magnet wall. You can take advantage of the angle that wall jump morphing with your stick and neutral sends you in order to gain height consistently on a single wall. It's definitely very, very tricky, as we saw Vale essentially climb all the way to the top twice and missed the very last one. Definitely a feeling I am more than familiar with.
Indeed. If Vale couldn't do single wall jump, he had to just mash Kraid's infected belly button for the magnet to get knocked down to climb up, which can take a bit of time unless Kraid launches claw spikes in the stair to let the runner go up a lot sooner.
And on the other side of things, we've got Metroll making his way towards the evil green time waster, looking to waste some time himself. So let's see if he can get the same favorable RNG that Vale got, and maybe have be a little bit cleaner on the wall jump department.
Yeah,
I know that trick can be extremely tricky, so definitely good on Vale for getting through it as quick as he did.
And a trick I have yet to learn, but it is definitely learnable. Has precise inputs, but it is not hard to mechanically execute with enough practice.
Metroll unfortunately getting a throw up first, and going to be opting for the belly button here. So not quite as good RNG, but definitely taking a very simple and consistent route through this fight, which is not a bad option at all.
Not bad at all. I thought Metroll can do single wall jump. I guess maybe just chose not to for this tournament.
Perhaps. And, like we said before, the nerves can really change how you perceive the run. So it could just be a case where that's what he's more comfortable with, Yeah,
anything can happen in a tournament setting. It can be very different from just running normally.
Speaking of anything, this is a critical moment for Vale, but nails it no problem. No falling in the soup for him. That can really set you back badly if you fall in on that second jump. So good stuff to Vale, clearing early grapple very easily.
Yeah, that is what we call the early grapple section, which allows you to get grapple a lot earlier, and is a dev intended trick which takes advantage of coyote jumping, which is in this case sliding through a gap, and as you fall mid-air, you do another jump, and you can just jump mid-air.
Yeah, more just generally speaking, anytime you slide off of a ledge, you can jump midair, much like Wile E. Coyote from the old Acme cartoons. A trick very common and present in games such as Donkey Kong Country and other speed games.
So both Vale and Metroll taking some transports. Metroll is leaving Catalyst, and Vale has just entered Artaria to get the fabled grapple beam.
Ooh, nice little weave there. Only getting caught on one corner, so definitely very pretty clean from Vale there. Grabbing grapple, and this room will always bend my mind because I'm so used to having flash shift in this room. So every time I see someone do it normally, I'm like, whoa, yeah. What do you mean? Where is it?
Wait. Yeah, but where's the flash shift optimization? But no, some other runs get grapple much later in the run when you have flash shift, but in this category, it is much more preferable to get grapple early. Ooh,
nice grapple cancels from Vale.
Yep, with a good grapple cancel, if you grapple onto a wall and then let go, Samus gets a bit of upward momentum, which gives her some height to kind of clear through some movement.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing the runners high-fiving on these loads really quick. Metroll going down the elevator, Vale going up. Vale entering the elevator to go back up at about 33 minutes, so let's see where Metroll stands here. they're only one area of movement apart, so Metroll is definitely closing that initial
He's
gap.
catching all you do in Altaria is get grapple and then leave, and that I believe takes like less than a minute.
Yeah, it's definitely quite short, so let's see how he weaves here. Catching one corner, but otherwise pretty good. And going to be collecting that coveted grapple beam.
Yeah, worth noting is that when you are morphed, when you're falling, you have greater vertical momentum, but it's a lot harder to move left to right versus spin falling.
Also worth noting here, the Coyote jump mechanic also applies to unmorphing out of a ball tunnel. So if you unmorph out of a ball tunnel and jump, you will be able to Coyote and allow you to get a little bit of extra distance, which allows you to...
Oh, did he? Oh, unfortunately, Vale has gotten the bad yellow spawn. But the good news is that yellow enemy did not notice Vale's movement, so Vale was able to sneak through without the yellow enemy making a scene. So very fortunate on Vale there.
Yeah, that's definitely a fortunate mess up for him. It can be really, really ugly if you mess up that initial grapple boost to get up. So
Yeah.
Vale definitely feeling good about the way he ended up handling that, staying on the magnet to keep the yellow enemy from catching him, so he could just run right by it.
Yeah. Had a bit of one too many close calls with yellow enemy just because of bad movement and bad spawn, but Vale has no problem, and he activates the second and last generator of Dyron to restore power to get the next power up of the game, which we'll see in a few seconds.
Yeah, Metroll's hot on his tail, though, approaching the Dyron Atom right here and going to be doing this first Emmy Zone himself.
Let's see.
Getting a much more favorable spawn here, so he can just waltz on through. Yeah, very nice for Metroll.
But still had a very clean grapple up, so very clean movement from Metroll. Vale has just got bombs, which allows Samus to activate these Morphball launchers that are very present in Dyron.
Yeah, these are essential means of movement through Dyron to get to Berenia. Technically, you only really need Morph and Grapple to get through, but if you do get bombs, then you have the option to just use the bomb cannons instead of taking the shortcut here.
Exactly. So this room is always very comfortable because yellow enemy is always guaranteed to spawn above where you are. You have more than enough time to get through. So,
and Vale has officially entered the golf course here, so let's see if Vale himself is a golfer.
You missed the hole in one. If you had used enough horizontal momentum as Samus rolls down in Morphball, she can just slip through the one-tile tunnel and save a bit of time versus dropping into the water. But thankfully, Vale has one more chance to be a golfer, as both runners will go through that room a total of 2 times in this run. So there is still hope for Vale.
So definitely a chance for redemption on the golf course here, but we've got Metroll approaching hole number 1 very, very quickly. Going to be taking the weave through there, blasting out the block, so you can basically just fall right in. And going to be navigating through this Emmy zone, which, even though the yellow Emmy can be very scary, it's so far away in this section that it really isn't a problem.
Not at all, yep.
Unless you're going the other way.
Metro's going through. Will he get it? Oh, almost
very
so close. Just dipped in before game pushed out into the water. Nevertheless, both runners will have a second chance later in their run to redeem themselves.
Yep, and one very, very nice thing about having grapple for this section of Berenia is you get to take that water shortcut and skip all that somewhat frustrating water movement where you have to make use of water morph boosts and appropriate jumping, use of the claws. Vale, unfortunately, falling into the pool, easily the hardest Coyote in the game because of the presence of the water there.
Yeah, thankfully both runners have grapple to bail them out if they get dropped into the water, but it is possible to do a Coyote jump to clear the water section entirely without having to climb through the magnet ceiling as well.
Yep, and here we're going to be seeing Vale go for backdoor space, so dropping bombs to float above the sensor door, which should allow it to open back up so he can collect flex shift. Oh no!
The door just temporarily opened. Yeah, this backdoor flash is not doesn't save as much time in this category compared to other categories where you don't have grapple, and would thus save a lot more time doing it. But here, you save, I think, roughly 8 seconds by getting it first try.
Yeah, and he was locked in for it, but unfortunately just broke his rhythm right at the end there and had to drop down and do it again. However, his second attempt was perfect. You really cannot ask for a better backdoor flash than that second attempt.
Indeed, and I believe Metro will also be going for that. He is a very strong proponent of going for this in every run, so we'll see him attempt it.
Yep, opting to go from the ground and accidentally auto-unmorphing. That can happen if you accidentally let the control stick go above neutral. Very easy to do when you're moving up and down.
You will, as Samus bounces up left and right, you want to have the control stick toggle downwards to avoid that auto-unmorph. And Metro has a seemingly about the same number of attempts compared to Vale, so I think they just break even for this trip.
I think Metroll took a little bit of time, and he also closed the door by accident. That's really unfortunate.
That takes another few seconds off of Metro's time, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's really easy to close the door by accident. Essentially, if you just land in where the shutter would spawn, then you can jump through the load, jump into the load and not trigger the door. Whereas if you just go straight through the load, the door will often shut behind you because it detects Samus directly behind it.
So Vale is on his way back to Dyron to kill Yellow Emmy, while Metro is just doing a little bit of water cleanup here, just draining the water to clear the way to the tram.
And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be seeing a C-boost here. The Clyde seems to be quite out of position here. And it appears we may be having a stream issue with Metro's stream.
Yeah, it may take a bit for Metro stream to get back up, but in the meantime, Vale is just going through the Yellow Emmy zone, doing a quick grapple optimization to get up easily, and just doing a series of flash shifts to get to the central unit pool.
Definitely a very clean arena movement from Vale here. I'm going to be seeing these charge missiles again. We've got diffusion this time, so they're just a little bit more beefy than before. So I think it's 5 or 6 of them to phase over the CU so you can start mashing again.
So, yep. Yellow central unit has considerable more health than green central unit, so it is very important to optimize Charlie's and wide beam mash in phase 2 once the armor is gone. So we talked about how Yellow Emmy can be a very intimidating Emmy to deal with, but the kill sequence for this Emmy can be considered one of the easiest out of all of them, as long as you just have the correct setup, which Vale just did. So Vale just easily shoots the Yellow Emmy down with no problem.
Yeah, you essentially just get to stare at it and shoot it, and as long as you do that and you don't really miss much, the Emmy won't make it very far, just because it takes so long for it to come out of that morph tunnel there. So definitely a case of very fortunate geometry for the kill, and Metroll potentially mashing his Omega Cannon here to speed up some of the kills to get a little bit of time. Metroll has some very impressive mash, and in this case you really only have to hold one direction, so it's a good way to speed up this kill here.
Yep. So the thing with Omega Stream is that the first shot of Omega Stream volley is stronger than the rest. So if Metro manually mashing, so the initial shots keep firing, it does expedite taking out the Emmy's faceplate, albeit not entirely necessary for the kill.
Yeah, and just a note, because of the fire rate of the regular Omega Cannon, you have to be mashing at about 15 Hertz in order to gain some sort of benefit from that. So that just goes to speak to the mash that he has.
Yeah, Metro has talked time again how he's been working on his mash, and it is very noticeable how experienced and talented he is with this. Right. And now Vale is done with Dyron for the time being. He's going to pay a visit to a very particular Chozo by the name of Quiet Road.
Oh, is it gonna hit the ceiling? Oh my gosh, that was close.
Metro skipping the anything, and yeah, I thought that Metro was too far left to just bonk on the corner of that wall, but that was perfectly fine.
Yeah, the game gave him just enough leeway there to ball spark up without bonking that ceiling. So definitely a fortunate happening for him. going to be getting on the QR elevator himself, and he has significantly caught up to Vale at this point. Only one low transition behind.
Look,
oh no, Vale accidentally closing that door and missing his opportunity to maintain the speed keep.
Yeah, with the right speed keep, you can just clear that ramp entirely and save a bit of time versus having to grapple that grapple point above. But nevertheless, Vale goes in, goes to Cryo, and off-screen Cryo unfortunately gets killed by this robot, which Vale now has to kill.
Oh, Vale
tries to take advantage of damage boost to run through the robot to store a shine spark, but sometimes the robot may not be cooperative and just be right where you don't want it to be. But you know, Vale still cleared the fight pretty well, so Oz fail.
Metroll also unfortunately missing it.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, let's see how his QR fight goes. Vale definitely losing some time on the setup for his D boost, going a little bit too slow. So the robots bogged him a little bit, but Metroll getting two pretty quick ones, so that's definitely going to be a boon for him.
Yeah, that Metroll saved at least almost close to like 5 to 10 seconds just by having a better QR fight.
Yeah, and I believe both these runners will be doing the Frozen Artaria route, so I don't believe we're going to be seeing any route divergence here.
I believe both of them have been practicing the Frozen Artaria route, which is considered to be one of the options you can take to save.
Yeah, even then we wouldn't see that deviation for quite a while, but definitely worth noting that Glitchless has actually a surprising number of options for routing.
Yeah, there are two popular routes for this category. One of them is going through Frozen Artaria. The other one is getting space early through a Glitchless bomb jump, morph jump technique. Both of those routes are pretty similar time-wise. It really boils down to personal preference of what you want to do. A lot of runners like these two prefer Frozen Artaria, though.
Ooh, getting that nice little flash shift bonk off of the robot here, and Vale's going to be in hole number 2, nailing it.
And Vale is a golfer. We saw here, ladies and gentlemen, Vale just kind of slips through, morphed, and right through the tunnel. So that is what we call a certified hole-in-one.
Very nice from Vale, cleaning up from his previous performance on this hole. So definitely good to see.
Oh, and Metro unfortunately missed a second chance to get the hole-in-one, but nevertheless, it is all just for show. Doesn't lose as much time.
Yeah, it's a very minute time difference, but it is a fun little game to play while you are watching.
And as you see here, Vale is still going through the loading cutscene while Metro just started. As you can see, the lead has narrowed just because of loading time and a few optimizations from Metro's end. So the race is getting real close, guys.
Yeah, this is definitely a point where there are still a few lows left here for Vale, so seeing your lead slowly disappear like this is not it's definitely a tough sight to see. He's gonna have to keep moving forward if he wants to stay ahead of Metroll.
Yeah.
Ooh, getting a weird loss of his speed on that morph into the tunnel.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't think I've seen that before. Vale has another speed keep opportunity here and pulls it off successfully.
Yep, so that little laser enemy right there can be quite the pain in the neck. You can dodge it with both Flash Shift and Speed Booster. Vale opting for the simpler Shine Spark option.
Yep. So here's the more important Shine Spark, just doing a quick Shine Spark up to get to the idol a lot faster than having to grapple around.
Yeah. Ooh, Metroll unfortunately losing the speed.
Yeah, and as you can see, it is a lot slower to have to maneuver. Metro just jumped straight to the second grapple point, which is good on Metro. I mean, a little bit of finickiness with the idol, but Metro is already there to fight Drog, and we're going to see here that it is possible to defeat Drog with a single cycle with some well-timed damage boost, as we see Vale here doing.
Definitely missing a few shots here, so probably not ideal here. But Vale's gonna want to take the not taking the counter
is just
here.
There. So it is possible, as we've seen with Vale, just to continuously slide into Drog to stun its animation and therefore kill it without Drog doing its parry sequence. But unfortunately, Vale is short on both health and missiles for a very important boss fight coming up in the new area.
Yeah, it's definitely a case where there's a really unfortunate set of back-to-back fights here. Metroll opting for a slower Steve Tower climb here, just out of safety. He does have less health, so I can certainly understand not taking that. He did not take that third energy tank in Dyron. And this is definitely a fight where having that energy tank makes a huge difference in comfort.
Considerably, but what's worth noting is that Metro has over 30 missiles going to Gavin, which you need around 30 missiles to take care of the next fight, the Gavin Gold Robo, while Vale is coming in with significantly fewer than that.
Yeah, it looks like he's at about 8 missiles, so he's gonna need to find a way to get some missiles before the fight. Both options he has are relatively slow, so he's gonna take probably 2 parries here to see what resources he can get back.
Looks like he's got enough. He's got 40 missiles in, but now Metro is catching up to Vale, and without needing to parry the enemies, just goes right in.
Yeah, they are in the same room now.
The only difference is that Vale has more health, so Vale can be a lot riskier and take more damage boosts off of the robot to do more damage, while Metro has to play a little bit safe as he currently sits in less than an energy tank and a single attack could end his life. But Metro cleared through and is on Vale's tail. Only seconds apart now.
Vale definitely, like you said, benefiting from that extra tank, allowing him to just kind of face tank the robot a lot better. He did take 1 parry, which is not super ideal because it does reduce the damage that he takes while he's in that kind of like lean back animation. Meanwhile, Metroll suffering from the consequences of being only 2 tank and being very, very close to death, which is extremely stressful in the fight, and it's a position I've seen so many times.
I know Metro is super confident with running 2 tanks, so I presume Metro is just keeping it locked in. But yeah, having 3 tanks is a lot comfier, allows you to get away with getting more damage and also use for some damage.
No, Vale!
Oh, Vale is having a little bit of a hiccup into the bomb block, and now Metro has claimed the lead from Vale just by having better movement out of the super room.
Yeah, it just goes to show where good movement gets you. Not being able to cleanly exit a very awkward section like that pays in dividends. No Hecathon boost, unfortunately. But yeah, Metroll officially pulling ahead, so Vale is going to need something big to happen for him to take the lead again. Because every single load from now until the end of the game, Metroll will slowly gain time for free.
Yeah, Vale has a few opportunities. There is an important trick coming up after the Elon trip, but
yeah,
both Vale and Metro
is going to be a huge decider for this race.
Yeah. Both runners have practiced a lot for this trick. There is a variant called Super Glitches Early Ice, which saves the most time, but is a little bit more difficult to pull off than the standard set. And I believe both runners will be attempting to go for that.
Yeah. So Vale about a room and a half behind Metroll here, getting into the Elon Vault, while Metroll is cruising in to go towards Plasma Beam. Let's see which direction we're going to see. So we're going to see a right side Elon post-blob, and Vale opting for left side.
I'm personally more on the right side itself, but left side is just as valuable, especially if you know how to do the correct flash chains to get through.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that left side flash chain for sure. Metroll, nice flash cancels off of the enemies here to quickly, basically skip through everything. Meanwhile, Vale clearing right over top of the enemy here.
Yep, both Metroll gets Plasma Beam first, and Vale not so far behind, where we're going to be seeing Plasma Beam being used to shred through an upcoming boss pretty efficiently.
Yeah, something that's worth mentioning is now we're at the point where Beam Mash becomes a primary means of DPS. So, being able to mash quickly will save you a lot of time, and Metroll is very good at mashing for sure.
So while many bosses are immune to uncharged beam shots, bosses like the Chosen Warriors will take damage from uncharged shots, which makes mashing a must to getting the most damage out of it.
And you're seeing both runners weaving missiles in here. That basically just allows them to continuously pump even more damage in between those beam shots. Super Missile shooting pretty slow, so weaving is definitely not too bad.
Yeah, super missiles are fire at twice, at half the speed of regular missiles, so it doesn't really give you that much higher DPS as one would hope. But with good manual mashing between beams and missiles, you can get the most damage out of both.
Yeah, and Metroll unfortunately missing the greatest time save on Earth and heading into what is we like to call the hardest boss fight in the game, this cutscene skip on the Elon tram. Let's see how both runners handle it.
Yeah, this is a very tense moment for both runners. They have to really focus up for the right moment to get ready. And still seconds apart, but Metro will get a bit of more of a lead because of the digital times. Ooh, took like a second to get through that cutscene, but no matter, still relatively fast. We'll see how fast Vale goes through this.
And I mean, that just goes to show how much slower those physical loads are. Vale was on that load screen for forever.
Yeah. You know, Metro is going to go the speed keep to kind of weave through this upcoming Emmy zone, which is important based on where Blue Emmy is. Oh, Blue Emmy's in a very favorable spot on the top left, and Metro is setting up for glitchless early ice.
Alright, so not opting to do fastest variant here, going to wait for the bomb block to reappear, so he has a maximum amount of time to do all this. Vale also nailing that horizontal spark, and Metroll going for a classic GEI here, getting it first try, very nice.
Yeah, very clean, very simple. We'll see what Vale is going to try to go for here.
I think we're seeing another... Ooh, missing that wall jump.
So Vale was trying to walk it off of that wall to perform the super variant, which unfortunately missing it just requires you to start over and try again.
Vale not taking the fastest setup to speed boost after. Oh no, missing it again.
That specific wall can feel a little bit finicky because it's a very short wall, so you have to time the jump well to get the wall kick through. I can understand runs just getting affected by that. It is not ideal.
Oh no, I'm getting blocked by that bomb block here. Vale definitely maybe. Oh no, speed balling into the water.
And Metro's already done with the blue Emmy. Vale is trying to catch up and save as much time as possible, but it is a considerable lead to fight against.
Yeah, this is definitely a huge break for Metroll here. Vale taking quite a few attempts on glitchless early ice, unfortunately. Going for super.
Good.
And he's got it.
There we go.
Right, so he's going to be coming over here and sparking up. This takes you to the top of the room, so you can just flash over instead of navigating through those mushrooms, which can be quite finicky. It is a little bit faster if you can get it first try. However, unfortunately, Vale is going to be now working on the blue Emmy and central unit.
Yeah, Metro played the safer glitches early ice option, but it did pay off, even though it's a bit slower than the super variant. So
Metro is running early space.
Okay, so I believe we're going to be seeing a route divergence here, assuming that Vale sticks to Frozen Notorious. So, in this route, Metro is going straight to Ferenia and getting space jump a lot earlier than usual through glitchless early space, which we'll see shortly. And meanwhile, Vale has finally killed Blue Emmy and has two options forward for him, depending on what he wants to do.
Yeah. So we're going to be seeing Metroll do a sequence of wall kicks and well-placed bombs in order to basically go in through the dev-intended shortcut to space jump, which allows you to collect it without storm missiles. Normally, they intend for you to use cross bombs in order to do that. However, with just regular bombs, you do have enough time to get up here. So we're going to see it here. So that's 1, 2, 3.
Oh, is that?
And he gets up there first try.
First try. It does require a bit of mechanical precision just by sliding and doing coyote jumps and laying bombs one after the other, so you can clear all 3 bomb blocks and get through the shaft just as the first bomb block appears again, and Metro just pulled that off brilliantly.
Oh, interesting. So Vale pulling the grapple block there. So I think we might be seeing One Trip Hanubia, which is an experimental route that Vale and others have been kind of theorizing about for glitchless as a third option. It presents a very interesting dichotomy compared to early space or the regular Frozen Artaria route, where you essentially keep yourself from going through Hanubia twice in an effort to save on loads.
Yeah, so normally in the two main routes, which is early space and Frozen Artaria, you have to take a trip to Hanubia earlier to get to Frenia and clear some grapple blocks, but Vale is taking the experimental route, which I mentioned before, that despite there being two major routes, this third route has just kind of been kicked off as experimental, and we can see if Vale can save some time over Metro by going this way instead. This is actually I have not seen One Trip Hanubia like in action, so this will be a very interesting sight to see.
Yep, and Vale heading towards another common stumbling block in any run that gets Gravity Suit. Going to be going for the Gravity Puzzle here. Unfortunately, not getting the store and breaking the blocks together. So Vale is going to have to go down here and grabbing that ledge by accident, falling into the water.
That is too relatable. It's happened to the best of us. Early gravity is fundamentally not that difficult, but it is easy to mess up just by mistakes. It can happen to anyone.
Most notably, doing it without screw attack is very easy to mess up, because if you have screw attack, you get a lot of assurance from being able to just break those shot blocks by dropping through.
Yeah, but what Vale has to do here is, as he's falling, he has to shoot the blocks while he's falling mid-air, so he get the way forward to speed through the slope. But Vale does get the second try, so no harm there. He's going to destroy a couple of blobs and getting another suit upgrade. While Metro is, I believe, leaving Dyron and back to Artaria to get early screw attack.
Yep, so going through that Dyron yellow TP in order to get quickly back to Artaria here. It just provides the easiest pathway to back to screw attack here. Basically retreading some steps from very early in the game. I'm going to be taking a shortcut through the cold room here, not nearly as aggressive as the hot rooms in this game. So very, very easy to move through, especially when you have space jump.
Indeed. Yep, so another cold run with space jump is pretty easy, just to maneuver from ledge to ledge, and Metro's out. And usually it is possible to clear this with no energy tank. It is possible to do this route in a 0% run.
Yep, so you're going to see Metro making use of a trick called water space jump here, resetting on the ledge to get a bit of extra height for free. By space jumping underneath the corner, you make use of the assistive tool that basically allows for a little bit of extra error with space jump in water to gain a little bit of height each time you do it. And by doing that, you can essentially just staircase your way up to the screw attack area. Then with a well-placed Shine Spark, you can get out of the water.
Indeed. Did my memory mistake me, or did Metro rub through every single corner, or did he water bomb jump from the left?
He rubbed every corner. He did not water bomb jump. He did, however, once he got high enough to be able to grab that ledge on the left, he did reset on that ledge to gain a little bit of height for free. Very nice. Yeah. Nailing the second set. Basically, in order to reduce the amount of jumping he had to do, and I assume probably just as a means for like a comfort measure. Yeah. So Metroll going to be escaping the S tunnel, no problem. It can certainly be very grabby sometimes, so taking that speed keep through there is very, very handy. Meanwhile, we have Vale over in Frozen Artaria Speedway, as we like to call it, through one of the many speed keeps that are in this area.
Yeah. What's great about Frozen Artaria is if you really enjoy all the speed keeps, Frozen Artaria has a lot of optimal speed keeps just to kind of cruise through section by section and save as much time as you can. So
Yeah,
Vale
there are some optimizations to this that forego some of those speed keeps, but it's definitely a very cool option that is also extremely competent in terms of speed. So, a great choice for any runner, really.
So Vale's trying to get through speed keep through here. When, as you notice in Frozen Toy, all the cloak doors do not work, so you can just kind of run through unimpeded.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
A little speed keep here from Vale,
oh.
going to spark shot the door in order to get through. Definitely an interesting option that I've not really seen before. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's primarily used for category extension called Mercury Steam Percent to kind of get through a diagonal tunnel. But what Vale did was kind of cool, and it's saves a bit of time versus just flash shifting through
Yeah.
the room.
It's definitely a case of player expression that you really appreciate to see with such a free movement system.
Exactly.
Now, Metroll does not have Gravity Suit yet, so he is going to need to grab that in order to continue through to Ferenia in order to collect all of the items that are there. So now that he is back in Gavarin, he can drop down using his ice missiles and make use of Screw Attack and Space Jump to take a little shortcut over to Green TP.
Yeah, normally without any of that, you need to store a speed keep from above and just speed through the water. But with Screw Attack and Space Jump, it's just it's completely ignored.
Yep, and we're gonna see another slight difference here. Because you have to go to Frozen Artaria in Vale's route, you have to fight Z57. So essentially, his goal is to fight Z57 fast enough that the time loss from all of the teleportals that Metroll had to go through kind of wash away the boss fight time. But looking very clean on the charge missiles here.
Yeah.
Maybe missing a couple shots, but consistently getting those quick charges.
Yep. Oh, and Vale gets really, really fortunate here because the Z57 has a chance to do a double claw swipe, and doing that attack, Z57's head is in the background, which means you are unable to damage Z57 doing that attack animation. But Vale completely avoids that and saves a bit of time versus getting the claw attack of potentially up to 2 times.
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit of a dicey claw arm phase there, but he does manage to clear all of them before they go away, and you're going to see him soar here so he can smack Z57 in the face and end the fight.
Yep, Z57 is one of the very few bosses that loses all of its health from a Shine Spark regardless of its current HP. So it's very nice just to very effortlessly destroy the boss.
Ooh, and Vale unfortunately dropping the speed keep in this section here. Going to be taking a much slower climb up towards blue TP here. Meanwhile, Metroll has officially become purple. So slowly catching up to Vale in terms of gear.
Indeed.
Meanwhile, Vale on his way to collect Screw Attack here. Going to be evening up the gear, like the gear that he did not get earlier.
Indeed, and it looks like Metro Stream has a bit of technical difficulties. Hopefully that will. Oh, and it's back, and Metro is finding the 2 brand new gold bots, and here is where good mashing really pays off. The fight as Plasma can attack both bots at once, which just saves time from just attacking one of them individually.
Yep. Unfortunately, getting them unaligned, but that's okay. It happens. Sometimes when you don't have as much health, bonking can be a little dicey. So we're going to be seeing Metroll on green TP here. Going back towards Golzuna. Meanwhile, Vale on the other side of things will be, I believe, taking one trip Hanubia. So we'll be seeing him collect Screw here, and then go back to Gavarin and go to Ferenia instead, if I understand the route correctly.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, so now Metro is back in Gavarin, and there's another important boss fight coming up, and can be considered to be one of the most stressful and frustrating bosses, depending on how things go.
Yeah, Golzuna is definitely a known point of frustration, especially at the health point that Metroll is at. He has to be really careful here. It's really easy to run out of health here. He is going in with full health, so that does help. Going to be counting up the X flashes.
Ooh, and a little bit too late on the Goliath, but okay, that's so now Metro is going to have to adapt the strategy and I believe use a backup with the boss spark.
Yep. Okay, he's looking pretty clean. So, oh no, missing the turnaround.
Oh
and not quite getting it.
Yeah, Metro needed just enough space to get a Shine Spark through, but now since if Gozuna's in the middle, then that is there's no room to get a spark there.
Yeah, this is a really scary situation because I'm pretty sure if Metroll gets hit, he might just die. However, clutching it out.
Oh, having a bit of trouble with the Core X, but no matter.
He's got it.
Yeah.
So definitely not the Golzuna fight that you want here, but Vale.
Still got. Yep.
Vale, on the other hand, showing the newest route that has been theorized for glitchless here. So from Screw Attack, you go to that Dyran, Artaria elevator, and we're actually going to take this to the Quiet Rope exit, which will allow Vale to get to Ferenia, and cover everything that's there, and then come back through the Gavarin Ferenia tram, kill Golzuna, and then just do Hanubia all in one fell swoop.
Yeah. So the main reason why most routes require 2-trip Hanubia because there was a grapple block that blocks your way if you come to Hanubia from Ferenia for the first time. That the only way to destroy that grapple block is if you come in from Gavarin, which allows you to destroy it from the other side.
Yes. And interestingly enough, there's also that grapple block in Gavarin that can block you from Ferenia. So without glitches, you have no way back unless you move one of those two. So in this case, you basically choose to take the alternate one in order to try to, I believe it's reduce on load times. That does also create some interesting movement opportunities. However, Metro grabbing that missile in a very awkward position, so I understand.
Yeah. Missed a grapple block there, which you want to destroy since he'll be coming back to Hanubia from Ferenia after he finishes up stuff there.
Yeah, luckily you can get it on the return trip, but it's just cleaner if you do it that way.
Yeah.
So that way you can basically just do what you please.
So now we see Vale back in Ferenia and just kind of going through this code room easily, going through a plasma door, and now is poised to get storm missiles next.
Ooh, missing the shot on the door, but he does not have any jump upgrades, so he's gonna have to flash across no matter what. And
that was pretty clean. Yeah, so normally Purple Emmy is a pain point for most casual playthroughs because normally you don't have Screw Attack or especially Gravity Suits. So going through the water areas while the Purple Emmy is hot on your tails is nothing short of stressful, but with Gravity Suit, the water areas are just very trivial and just easy to outrun the Purple Emmy without getting seen.
Yep, and Metroll we see here passing through those areas that Vale did before. Unfortunately unable to keep make the keep, but having that extra jump upgrade does allow him to seamlessly weave through all of the platforms and make his way out of the enemy zone.
Alright, so here we're coming up to the next boss fight. SQ, which has storm missiles. We're going to see what Vale's strategy for got the spark in. Unfortunately, didn't get the pogo strat where you can just simply bounce on top of SQ and just repeatedly damage SQ. And you can also set up for a 2-cycle Core X by taking advantage of iframes when the Core X is introduced. But nevertheless, Vale thinks to SQ pretty quickly and gets the storm missiles.
Yep, Metro on the other hand has cross bombs here, so he's most likely going to be... Okay, just taking the up spark.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's true. Yeah, Vale doesn't have cross bombs, so he can't do the normal cross bomb setup while Metro does.
Ooh, that's a 2-cycle.
Nice. Yeah, as you see, a Metro immediately Screw Attack Core X just as it was spawning, which means it avoids invincibility frames, which allows Metro to consecutively Screw Attack the core twice.
Yeah, there's a very distinct sound cue that you get when you know you got it. You hear that sound of it getting hit twice instead of once. So that's how you know you surefire got the 2-cycle.
Yep, has a very distinct crunch noise, which most runners will be able to tell. And Vale is going up and fighting the Frenia bots. One of them is only silver, so that one is a lot easier to kill than the gold one, which is why Vale opted to Shine Spark the gold bot on the left.
Very nice weaving from Vale there, for sure.
Very clean.
Taking full advantage of the tools that he has available to him, and going to be getting Space Jump the vanilla way, essentially.
Indeed. So well, the reason why Vale is trying to store a speed booster here is because if you're not quick enough after getting Space Jump, the door will close on you. So Vale wants to save his Flash Shift until after he picks up Space Jump, which will allow him to just go back out the door before it closes.
And
just
now,
like that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Now I would say Vale execute that very cleanly, because if the door closes on you, you have to go through the water and just go all the way around, and it is very time consuming.
So I would also like to point out, Vale still does not have cross bombs yet. So while things may look really, really close right now, Vale is still missing a critical tool to complete the game.
Yeah.
Or like a critical tool to make some of these things a little bit faster.
Yeah, so as you see, Metro with cross bombs can clear through 4 bomb blocks at once in the code room, but Vale had to destroy them one by one, so that costs him a bit of time there. Okay, so Metro easily just clears through Popo Central Unit, which is the easiest Central Unit fight, as you have both Speed Booster to destroy its armor and Screw Attack to finish off its unarmored form.
And there we see Metro mashing his Omega Cannon again, just trying to get through that door a little bit faster. Squeezing out every second he can. However, he's got a pretty comfortable lead right now. Both runners are on the same boss, but Vale still has to go back and fight Golzuna. Whereas Metroll will be going back to Hanubia in order to fight the Power Bomb ME soldier, and then eventually the Elite Choso. So definitely looking like a very clean very clean lead for Metroll at this point.
And it looks like Metro had a very clean fastest purple ME kill.
Vale on the other hand taking the slower one.
Yeah, which is awesome. The method Vale is using is a little bit slower than just camping on the right corner, but this is a much more comfortable kill with far more leniency. Ooh.
Yeah, even with that little lapse in shots there, Vale's still easily able to clear this fight. And one notable difference between these two kills, while Metroll is able to get the kill significantly faster, Vale's positioning is much more favorable for getting through this room quickly. Metroll has to slowly roll through that tunnel, whereas Vale will be able to just basically immediately go up there. Ooh, nice speed keep looking for Metroll here.
Very, very clean. Alright, so Metro is going back to Hanubia for his second trip, which gives him an advantage over Vale, as Vale cannot go back the way the way Metro came. Instead, go take the tram back to Gavran and fight Golzuna, get cross bumps, and then go Hanubia that way. So Vale has a lot of time he needs to do. Wait, that's
Vale.
Vale,
Vale, where are you going, Vale?
Oh no!
Vale, no!
Vale not realized.
Vale, no!
Oh, Vale he realized.
Oh god, man! Don't scare me like that.
I think it's just muscle memory. We're just so used to just going straight to Hanubia from Frenia that Vale just kind of forgot about the route that he chose.
Yeah, unfortunately, Vale has to go the long way over to Gavaran, not able to quite connect the speed keep all the way through. But going to be going back to Gavaran, killing Golzuna, and then going to Hanubia to finish out the rest of the game.
Yeah. Very cool.
On the other page here, we got Metroll working on the Power Bomb soldier here, getting his Storm Lock so he can start mashing. However, he's got to be really careful. He's only one hit away from death, but no problem, he's got it.
Thankfully, Wave Beam's DPS is very strong, so the fight doesn't really last long once the Chozo gets the base too.
Yeah, especially in combination with those Storm Missile shots, which do a lot of damage. So, making that fight look real easy here.
Yeah. Storm Missiles, however, do take a bit to charge up, so you want to use the Storm Locks when the during its shield phase or when it transitions to phase 2, because while you're waiting for damage, it's best to just charge up.
Ooh, Vale also unfortunately missing the speed ball through this tunnel here. Maybe not quite what he was looking for. Going to have to slowly roll through.
Indeed. Yep. So Vale is setting up to kill Gozuna, while Metroll just got the coveted power bombs to kind of clear through the remainder of endgame.
Yeah, Metroll's basically in the victory lap of the run here, so let's see how Vale's, ooh, unfortunately, getting powerbomb scammed, so he cannot charge one here. Vale opting for crazy 8s here.
Oh.
Alright, looking good. And that's
very
a 4-spark.
nice, Vale. That Vale does save time over Metroll, having a perfect spot Gozuna, but unfortunately, still considerably behind, while Metroll is already on his way to Iterash.
Yeah, I think we're really feeling the woes of that very unfortunate glitchless early ice, as well as, in general, just the difference from those physical loads. It is really, really cool to see this one-trip Hanubia route on stream. Kind of seeing the fruit... Oh, no!
Oh, the cross bombs is known to be a very finicky item that doesn't, like, get you across these gaps 100% of the time. So the few, like 5 to 10% of the time it happens, you just lose a lot of time, and it just kind of feels bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think maybe placing that crossbomb a little bit too far away, but now on his way to Hanubia to clear out the rest of the game, basically.
Indeed. And Metro has now defeated the penultimate boss of the game, the Go Chozo Warrior, which he uses the same Stormlock method with the previous Chozo, and just kind of defeats it single-handedly. Alright, well, Metro has the final boss of the game, Ravenbeak. Samus's father, so to speak, to deal with.
So definitely can be a stressful fight on 2 tanks a little bit. You don't really get a lot of health pickups in the middle of the fight. It's just at the beginning of at the transition of phase 1 to phase 2, and then the next phase transition, and then from the sun in phase 3. So Metroll's definitely going to have to make sure he's playing it smart. I imagine we'll be seeing some left wall manipulation here to give Ravenbeak some more favorable attacks for DPSing him consistently. So let's see what he's got for this Ravenbeak and what RNG Ravenbeak is going to gift him today.
So just one final power bomb to clear the way, and we'll see how Metro's gold skip in phase 1 will do, which will save him, net him a considerable amount of time save.
Yeah, really clean soldier fight from Vale here. Skipping the shield phase and then getting a very, very fast kill following.
Alright.
On the following phase 2 with some very nice weave here. And then we're going to be seeing Metroll do a gold skip here, so 1, 2, and mash.
Yep, that looks good.
No problem for him.
With 2 Stormlocks and some mashing, you can just kind of reach through. And as you notice, once Ravenbeak phase transitions, Sam's can immediately flash it forward and just do more damage to save a bit of damage for phase 2.
So definitely an interesting approach here taken by Metroll. Instead of opting for the left wall manipulation, just focusing on raw DPS. But he's going to have to be careful. He's only got a little bit of health left, and these Gatlings can chip away your health, but very, very nice.
Oh, very, very fast. Yeah, Metroll was definitely playing with fire here, but he definitely knows how to play it right. And, of course, with the case with power bombs, they're really good at just one-shotting those suns that Ravenbeak spawns out, and gives you some pickups in the meantime.
Yeah, so looking very clean on his weave through Ravenbeak phase 3 here. This fight should be over right here soon.
Yep. Yeah,
taking one last dodge, I presume, and there it is.
There we go. Yeah, with good manual mashing and weaving, it just makes phase 3, makes all of Ravenbeak not pretty quick.
Yeah, that fight is sped up significantly by even just a little bit of weaving. The difference between getting those extra DPS from the wave beam shots versus just missiles is huge. Especially in phase 3 when you're constrained to Void Cross.
Indeed. Metro has to just take care of Ravenbeak X, as Ravenbeak is affected by X, but Vale is fighting an X himself, which is the Gold Warrior, right before Ravenbeak.
Alright, Vale clearing through Elite Chozo, no problem here.
Oh, interesting. Metro is charged up Hyper Beam a lot earlier than the most optimal, but you know, still worked out.
Yeah, you can basically have it take the same amount of time by pre-charging it and then just waiting for him to get close and doing it right at the end. It's pretty much just player preference. I do the same thing often as well, and as long as you're not hanging on to the shot button too long after it initially charges, then you don't really lose too much time. But Metro going to be taking care of Escape here, looking at a realistically probably a low 124 here.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And Vale is still on his way to Iterash to fight Ravenbeak, so Vale's got a bit of time before he gets to the escape sequence.
And it's worth mentioning, Metroll started with the physical digital 3.5 minute penalty, so this run was definitely close to a 120, 121 type of run. Definitely solid work from Metroll here.
Yeah, definitely. Just going through these sections and then charging up for a Shine Spark up, which you do a jump twice, you skip a cinematic cutscene up, which does take a bit of time.
Yep, and going to be seeing this final speed keep here. You can store here, space jump up, and then spark in.
All the way to the end.
Metroll will be finished.
And that is time. 124.15. Or actually, this is a 120 without the 327 delay. Actually, that's huge.
Yeah, so definitely great work from Metroll here. Congratulations to him for winning the race. But we have the rest of the Ravenbeak fight for Vale here. So both players opting to take the flash shift in damage, which is definitely really fun. I'm a big fan of that extra free damage. You can get 3 ice missiles if you flash immediately during the phase 2 transition. I'm not sure why that cutscene is interruptible, but it sure is.
It is free real estate. You can go for it, just go for it, and you can just get some extra damage in. And phase 2's already done. Vale's manual mashing is also pretty notable, so phase 3 shouldn't take that long. Oh, but wait! He's choosing to let the sun play out!
I don't really know what's going on with that one here. That just is a huge risk for how long this thing is going to be out.
It is a little bit spooky and a bit slow since you have to maneuver away from the sun's rays while damaging Ravenbeak. But the sun's cleared out. Hopefully Ravenbeak won't summon another one.
Yeah, it looks like Vale's more than familiar than playing with the sun.
Unfortunately, Vale is out of missiles and low health, but no needed.
Nice.
Just with one, just right after the parry too. The timing couldn't be more perfect. Okay, well Vale is done. Look, I think this is going to be like a 127 for Vale, if my math is correct. Like a high.
Yeah, definitely somewhere in that ballpark. So we're going to be, once Vale is able to finish up and we see him in setup, we are going to get him in here, as well as Metroll for the post-game interview. But of course, GG's to Metroll, great work here tonight.
Yeah.
And for Vale, certainly a great effort, and really, really cool to see One Trip Nubia showcased, even with the almost hiccup in Perennia. It is definitely very fair transitioning from a very common route to a new experimental route to see small hiccups here and there, but I'm sure he can refine it and get some of those harder bits of movement down to bring down his time on this route.
Yeah, there was definitely more promise to One Trip Nubia route being used more by runners, but we'll just have to see as time goes on. It's still in its experimental phase.
But yeah, I feel like we very much saw like a battle of consistency here from Metroll versus Vale, just trying to showcase his new route and also maintain a high speed, but unfortunately glitchless early ice going to cost him enough time that it really just was not what he needed at that time.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate, but glitchless early ice has its difficulty. Just kind of gotta be locked in for that. Oh, I think Vale's gonna go for what we call the Arc Candy or Arc Spark, but having a little bit of trouble as he space jumped a little bit too high into those food blocks. You wanna get a speed keep through the ramp on the right so you can like speed all the way to here, but nevertheless Arc Spark is a very difficult trick to pull off, especially when it's the last bit of the run to do.
Yeah, the biggest difference is about whether you wall jump while space jump is falling or while it's rising. If you do it while it's rising, it gets a significantly higher trajectory.
And that
so
is
you have to
timed
kind of
by
delay a
Vale.
little.
Vale got a 127.55. Congratulations to him.
Alrighty. So that's our race today. Metroll taking it with a 124.15 against Vale's 127.55. I am seeing a blue timer on Vale's stream, so I'm very curious to see if that's a PB for him.
Yeah, actually, that could very well be. I'm not entirely sure what his PB is, but we'll get confirmation soon enough.
Yeah, let's get them in here.
Hello, hello, gamers.
How we feeling after tonight's race, Vale?
Hello, I'm feeling.
Hello. You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Excellent.
we can hear you, Metro. Hello.
How was my... Okay, I want to explain something to RBX. What I did was by complete accident, my Y button was on turbo.
Oh, that happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I
Done that
did
before.
notice that you were shooting a lot earlier than I expected, but you know, it's like a very minor thing, so it's not like a
I
big
have
deal.
RBX trauma, okay?
Yeah, it's really easy to get munched by accident if you've got a turboed Y button.
I completely get that as someone who.
I always
Especially
tend
if
to
you're a
chat.
UR runner.
Yeah,
Listen, we don't need to talk about that.
But GG's Metro.
Thank you. I'm very curious with the IGT. Well, actually, I just let the credits play. How did you feel about the race, Vale?
Honestly, I did way better than I was anticipating, even with the very scuffed, I think it was 8th try Atom, and then like 8th try GEI.
it happens to the best of us. We understand.
But I PB'd by about a minute.
Yeah,
that's
Cobbin
cool.
and I were just talking that
Wow.
this looks like a PB, and
And
congrats.
I brought my sum of best down by about 2.
Interesting. Okay.
Very good.
Is this? How many runs have you done on One Trip Hanubia so far?
This is the second run.
Oh my gosh.
The PB and
Nice.
everything I brought over from my previous splits when I was doing just Frozen Artaria.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So I think this is the first time we saw Wonder Panubia in the tournament, if I recall correctly. So I was really, both of us were surprised that you went for it, but it seemed to have paid off and you got a PB. So congratulations.
Yeah, I can't attribute that fully to the route specifically because all of my PBs in the past have had mess ups, messed up Atom Skip, messed up GEI, deaths, and all
Yeah.
that. So it's still hard to say whether or not this route is definitively better, but I feel this is a very good sample to use for continued checking of the route.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Indeed.
a very fun route. All the speed keeps are just, they're so good.
It's
Yeah,
I
wait,
definitely
you see,
nailed them all.
I will say that the speed keep after Wave Beam to get to the tram to Gavin is pretty cool. You just kind of rub the door as it opens and you just kind of breeze through to the tram door, tram button. There's a lot of good speed keeps, and I definitely like seeing it. We also noticed that you almost stepped on the elevator to Hanubia from Ferenia. Then I assume at some point you realized that that's not the route you're running.
Yeah, so I had pulled up the restream around the time where I pulled the blocks, the block in Gavin,
Mm-hmm.
to see, because even though we're talking about the new route publicly in the Discord, it's kind of in a thread, and only myself, Ed, and Leaky have really been participating in the thread.
Yeah.
So I wasn't quite sure how many people actually knew about the route.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just kind of see if you guys knew and kind of get the reaction.
Oh, don't worry. You
Yeah.
farmed me for content successfully. Rest assured.
Yeah, once we saw you pull the grapple block in Gavin before going to Gravity, it's like, okay, wait a second. Bale's cooking up this route.
I mean, I accidentally took a saving cat, and
Ooh,
It
happens to the best of us. It's
Yeah.
really
I
easy if
wasn't
you're just
paying
mashing A.
attention. I was looking away, and it's like, oh my word. And like,
Yeah,
it's
dude.
fine. I can just watch the intro again.
There you go, yeah. Just,
Yeah. I guess, Metroll, do you have any thoughts or things you want to say about your run here? I know we've talked about Vale's. showcasing the new route.
I saved 40 seconds over my PB. Let's just say that right now, and I could have had there was a possibility that I could have PB'd.
Interesting. I assume that's accounting for the physical digital penalty. So
Yeah, I was
that's really
subtracting
interesting.
I was subtracting my time by my 3:27. I thought, I'm like either tied or 2 seconds behind PB, and it's like,
It actually
And
looks
then
like they
goes into
corrected your
house, like,
time
it's
on the
too
restream,
late.
Metroll. Your time is a 1:24:15 on the restream. Or is that not the corrected time?
No, that's the correct time.
Yeah.
It includes the
that's
physical
the-
digital.
It includes the.
Sorry, that's the raw time.
1:24:15 is correct, but I'm talking about without the 3:27.
Yeah.
That looks
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
if you subtract 3 minutes and 27 from your time, you get like a 120.
1:20:48.
I think he's just
120,
trying to
yeah.
say he was pacing really strong for a while, which is definitely true. I feel like you had a very, very strong run. You really didn't have any
Absolutely.
major hiccups. You had some close calls on health, but you handled them great. But it was really just Golzuna, I feel like.
Yeah,
That was it.
I know a lot of Dreadnought strats, and I think I've seen someone from Edotech. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tex has a lot of cool dread mode stuff.
Yeah. What's important is that you pulled through Golzuna, you didn't die, you just locked in and just finished off Golzuna. So that's something to be proud about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't feel I wasn't that scared on Gavrobo or Golzuna. I was like, I'm running a little low on health.
Yeah, 2-tank
course.
can definitely get a little dicey at times. However, like I said, I feel like you managed it really well.
Yep,
Indeed.
thank you.
Mhm.
I feel very good about that race. I mean, you saw what happened on Debu's other stuff, so like it's fine. As long as I get past it, I get past it. I don't really care either or.
Exactly.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's a tournament setting. Anything can happen. It's what you make of it.
Yep.
At least I
Okay.
didn't die in a hack fraud. That would have been really bad.
Hey, anything can happen in a race. It's just one snapshot of one run, so literally anything can happen,
No, I mean,
But looking at the bracket here, we're gonna be seeing you move on to race Tatsuchi next. So
Right.
how are you feeling about that, Metroll?
I know he has a 11901, and I know he does cloakless. I may learn cloakless, and I may get really good at it. I may change up my gameplay strategies.
Interesting. Okay, so
I'm
adapting
probably
to the
gonna
game
do
ahead of
four
you.
thistles, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it seems like you got an exciting matchup with Tatsuchi in terms of like time-wise. Your PBs are pretty close, so it will be a very thrilling match to watch.
Yeah. I'm not going to stress, but I'm going to. Yeah. Anyway, let's hope that goes well. GG's to Vale. I feel incredibly good about that run. I feel like I didn't do too badly. I just get the strats. Just get the strats. It's that easy.
Yeah, I mean that's the story of early space in glitchless. As long as you can get the tricks, then you just basically roll forward with ease.
I mean, that's pretty fair of all of speedrunning. Just get the tricks.
Base
Just-
screw were incredibly clean.
Just get up there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
they were second. I practically tied my golds or my PB with those
Indeed.
two.
and anyways, unfortunately for Vale, this is your swan song for the tournament, and you will be out. But you had a pretty great run, and we're definitely proud of how
I
far you
think for a last run in the tournament, this was a very good one to end on.
Yeah, you showcased one trip Nubia, and you got a personal best. That's a great way to end things off.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty,
It
y'all.
really is.
So
Think about this. We now have resources on the new route, and then people can watch it.
yeah, and I believe Ed is going to be potentially trying it out in its race against Sat as well. So we may get some
Indeed.
extra representation very soon.
Yep, and that'll hopefully get the water cross, and more people may give the route a try. I'm honestly keen on giving it a try at some point, so we'll
Mhm.
see.
It's very fun. I highly recommend it. Even if it ends up being slower, just running it for the experience of running the route. Just, it is, honestly, it feels that good.
Nice. That's really encouraging to
There you
hear. Okay, so looking forward here, we've got Ed and Sat racing on Friday, August 16th at 7:30 p.m. EDT. As for further matches are scheduled here, you can check the Speedgaming Live tournament schedule for Metroid Dread Any Percent Glitchless. But I've been Hobbit, and I'm joined here by Manager, and I believe that's about it for us here today. So,
Yeah,
Manny, you want to
I
close
think-
us out?